Your flight's delayed. Your boss ignores the idea you spent a week on. Your screen just cracked. The market just dropped. Nearly 2,000 years ago, a man who didn't even legally own his own body wrote down one sentence about moments exactly like these. Stoics still call it the master key, the rule that everything else in this philosophy is really just a footnote to. By the end of this video, you'll have one practical test you can run on any bad moment, starting today. Epictetus was born into slavery in what's now Western Turkey. He lived with a crippled leg for most of his life. His master, Epaphroditus, was himself a former slave of Nero's, which tells you something about how brutal that household could be, even from someone who'd once worn the same chains. Eventually freed, he became one of the most sought-after teachers in Rome, until he was exiled and kept teaching anyway. He never wrote any of it down himself. Everything we have comes from a student, Arian, who transcribed his lectures into the Enchiridion, the handbook. How a slave ended up teaching Rome is its own story. That's video 3. Today we go straight to the rule that made people cross the empire to hear him. The Enchiridion opens with a single line. Some things are up to us and some are not. Up to us, our opinions, our desires, our aversions, our own will, and how we react. Not up to us, our bodies, our property, our reputation, what other people do. Most outcomes, period. Here's the reframe underneath all of it. Almost everything we suffer over sits in that second column, the one we never actually control. That's not a mood, it's a filing system. And once you actually sort your life into those two columns, you start noticing how few things ever belonged in the first one. Traffic, a stranger's opinion of you online, a market correction, a colleague getting the promotion instead of you. Every one of those lives in the second column. None of them were ever yours to control. You're not failing to control these things because you're weak. You're failing because they were never yours to control in the first place. Here's the pushback people always raise. Doesn't this turn you cold? Detached from everything you can't control? No, it's the opposite. Epictetus isn't telling you to stop caring about your kid's health or your friend's grief. He's telling you where to put your energy, not into controlling outcomes you never had power over, but into your own judgment, care, and response to them. You can grieve fully and still know the grief itself wasn't yours to prevent. Those aren't intention, they're the same move. Take a concrete case. You're criticized publicly, unfairly, in front of people whose opinion matters to you. The criticism itself, not up to us. Gray column, no matter how badly you want to rewrite it. What's left is smaller than you'd like, your judgment about it, and what you do in the next 5 minutes. But it's the only lever that was ever real. Marcus Aurelius, who you met in video 1, was reading this exact handbook. His nightly 3-question habit was built on this idea, not a separate one. Different case. You lose a job you were counting on, laid off, no warning. The layoff itself, not up to us. The timing, the decision, the reasons behind it, all gray column. What's still yours? How you spend the next month. Whether you spiral or start moving. That's the only part that was ever in your hands. Same test, different circumstance. Because the framework doesn't care what the specific bad news is. So here's the test. One question, not a checklist. Before you react, is this actually in my control? If no, name it, out loud if you have to, as not yours, and consciously loosen your grip on it. If yes, that's the only real work. What response is actually in your power to choose right now? Run it against that delayed flight from the top of this video. The delay isn't yours. How you spend the next 2 hours in that terminal, that part still is. Or run it against that public criticism from earlier. The criticism itself isn't yours. You can't unsay what was said, or unmake how it landed. But your next move is how you respond, what you do with the next 5 minutes. That part was always in your hands. Control your judgment, not the world, and almost every hard moment gets smaller. Next time, we go back to how a man with nothing, not even his own body under the law, ended up teaching that rule to the people who had everything. That's Epictetus's actual story. Next. One question before you go. Which item in your "not up to us" column has been hardest to actually let go of? Tell me in the comments. I read all of them. Subscribe if this one landed. See you in the next one.